shifting like a car. You have a gas pedal, and you have a brake pedal. A car would be useless without the gas pedal, which is why we actually do need to have a little bit of stress in our lives. Many of us, myself included, we're not taught that there are two kinds of stress. One is called eustress, and the other is called distress. Distress is the kind that puts us in a state where we can't function. But eustress is the type of stress and excitement energy that gets you out of bed and gets you feeling that motivation feeling that we talk about. Too much of the gas pedal, you're going to end up feeling like that zebra. Too much of the brake pedal, you're going to feel like that opossum, fully collapsed. But the goal is not to get rid of one or the other. The goal is to be able to shift. And we're going to talk about that. But while we're talking about shifting, it's helpful to also keep in mind that the human brain is not like an automatic transmission. Show of hands, who in here knows how to drive a stick? Awesome. I've been in rooms where it's nobody. Okay, so just shout out the answer to this. What happens if I'm going 90 miles an hour in fifth and I shift directly to 20 in first? Yes, right? It's bad. What happens? Yeah, you blow your transmission, destroy the car, right? If you're driving a stick, you would never expect to be able to go from 90 miles an hour in fifth to 20 in first. But how often do we get to Friday afternoon, after grinding all week, after living a life going 90 miles an hour in fifth, and then say things like, I don't know why I just can't relax. My week is over. I gotta grab the wine or whatever, right? We give ourselves first gear expectations for a fifth gear brain state, and that doesn't work, right? If you drive a car, you know that. You have to shift. You have to work your way from fifth to first. But our brains work in exactly the same way. Has anyone in here ever felt the Sunday scaries? You know, that like super naggy, itchy feeling Sunday night of, oh my God, another week, what do I do? That happens because you've spent all weekend getting yourself down to first gear, and you're giving yourself a fifth gear brain expectation. We can't have fifth gear expectations for a first gear state, and we can't have first gear expectations for a fifth gear state. Our brains are not set to do that. We have to be able to shift. Now here's another fun, surprising truth about the brain. When it comes to shifting, you do not need to know why your brain is doing what it's doing. Now, asking why questions has its place. I became an analyst because I was obsessed with understanding the why. But if this building caught on fire right now, are we going to sit there and go, I wonder why it's on fire? And how are you feeling about the fact that the building's on fire? And tell me about your childhood. What's your history with fire? Right? When the building catches on fire, we go, right? We don't stop and talk about it. We don't stop and think about it. We don't ruminate about it. And it's not because the why doesn't matter. It's because when you're stuck with whatever your thing is, from bedtime procrastination to suicidal depression, when you're in that moment of stuckness, you don't need to know why to get yourself moving. Why is probably the most misunderstood question. I get asked it all day. Well, why is this like this, and why am I like this? I can answer that. I could get out a whiteboard, and I could diagram out exactly how point A led to point B. And again, in some cases, that's useful. But not at the starting gate. When the building's on fire, you get out. When your brain is on fire, you have to shift. And so we're going to talk next about 3 surprising strategies to shift your brain. Surprising strategy 1 is not mindset-based. You will not hear me tell you to think positive, but you will hear me say, get some lemons and an ice pack. Has anyone ever heard this little trick before? It's, again, one of those things that's so stupidly easy. I was like, I spent how many years in therapy and how much money on grad school, and you're telling me grab a lemon and some ice, and that's going to help downshift my nervous system? And the answer is yes. Now again, this is not a fix-it. This is not a cure-all. This strategy is designed to help your brain downshift if it's too high, or upshift if it's too low. So how does this work? If you are laying on your couch and you're like, I really want to do the thing and I can't feel any energy, remember, you're not unmotivated, you're stuck in a freeze response. If you grab a lemon and you suck on a lemon, your entire system will get a little jolt, unless you like lemons, in which case this doesn't work, and find something that you don't like, right? The puckery, oh my God, I just bit into a lemon feeling creates a little bit of a shift in your system. And remember that when your system can shift, the safety team will settle down and you can make decisions. The ice pack is another funny one. You'd be shocked on Zoom meetings how many people are sitting there with ice packs shoved down their shirts and in their laps. Because being cold, like really cold, is one of the most effective ways to downshift or upshift a nervous system that's stuck. So ice cold showers gets this job done. Keeping gel ice packs in your freezer and just getting them on your face. If you don't like that, you can put cold water on your hands. One of my favorite, if you're having what we used to call a panic attack, but what we now know is a lion attack, hold onto a piece of ice and just watch it melt. It's like really uncomfortable and fairly unpleasant. But again, the goal is not to be happy. The goal is to be able to shift what's going on in our brains so that we can get back to our sense of choice instead of feeling like we're lost and out of control.